Welcome to the show. One race left in the 2026 regular season for the NASCAR Cup Series, and most of the big questions have been answered before we head to Daytona. One, that Ford is back somewhat. They've shown a lot of strength lately. And two, Denny Hamlin is the regular season champion. He will go in with a 25-point cushion. Let's hear how Ryan Blaney got it done at New Hampshire.
White flag is out for Ryan Blaney. He'll cross the granite stripe, hoping to go back-to-back in New Hampshire.
Has the lead he needs here on the final lap going into turn number one. No lap traffic ahead for Ryan Blaney that he's going to have to navigate here in the next mile. Looking for another win here at the Magic Mile. He is off of turn two and up the backstretch for the final time.
Bubba Wallace hustled his way around the lap car of Carson Hocevar. One final shot down into turns 3 and 4. They're running similar lines, but Bubba doesn't have the momentum. Out of turn number 4, Ryan Blaney's going to go back-to-back in the Granite State. Blaney wins the Dollar Tree 301 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway by a half a second over Bubba Wallace.
Nick Yeoman with the call on the Performance Racing Network at the Magic Mile, where Ryan Blaney flashed again. Once again, I'm Doug Rice, joined today by David Stiles, and from Speedway Motorsports, Samantha Waddell. And David, it's apparent that Ryan Blaney loves it when we head to New Hampshire.
I think those Penske cars just love it in general. They've been really strong on the short tracks all season long, and they're having a great resurgence through the summer here as we get ready to head into the last 10 races of the season in this marathon that will be the Chase. We've got one left at Daytona, and oh yeah, they're pretty good at these speedway tracks too. So I think this Penske push has been in full effect. I know Logano didn't have the day that he wanted, but Cindric kind of middle of the pack, but Ryan Blaney, man, he's really, really good at this style of track.
There was no stopping him, and I think that when we were talking about it earlier, you look at earlier in the season, it was all about Toyota and what Toyota was going to do. Ford's really come in there and really ramming through. I mean, what have they got? 4 of the last 6 races, they have taken the checkered flag. So I think it really, when you look at that, of course, Blaney, he was unstoppable. There was really nothing that was going to come between him and that checkered flag.
I felt there was a sense of inevitability when he got the lead late in the race.
Yes.
And I was actually texting with a couple of people that were in New Hampshire, and I said, I think it's done now. Bubba made it interesting, but I never really felt like he was going to get him, David.
I mean, he led 115 laps, the last 74 laps of the race, and that's despite even having a little bit of a snafu there on pit road.
Mm-hmm.
And his pit team has been in question marks all season long. But he said it in one of his post-race interviews. When they give me a fast car and I have the ability to drive through traffic and put myself in a position to win races, we have to capitalize. And he's won 2 out of the last, 6, 7 races starting back in Echo Park. And to think that Ford had a 15-race winless streak up until that point when he won at Echo Park earlier in the summer, they're on a tear, and he's locked up second place in the points now. I think that this could end up being a shootout between him and Denny Hamlin as we get ready to move into the later part of the season.
And I think you would also be remiss, though, if you start looking at yesterday's race to not talk about Bubba Wallace and Josh Berry. I mean, the battle of the 3 of them was so much fun, and it was dynamic, and it was something you wanted to cheer for all 3 of them to do well and to succeed, because it was fun to watch each one of those scenarios and those schemes kind of play out.
I felt like yesterday's race was entertaining, and I always want to walk away from a race going like, okay, I got something out of that. I had to be invested in this because you did have a story. It wasn't just a walk-off like we saw at Richmond and Iowa.
No, I fully agree, and we also had wet weather at the beginning of this one where they put the wet weather tires on, and I think this Josh Berry story is just phenomenal. He doesn't have a ride next year. He's looking for a new home. Jesse Love will be piloting his car. But if you look at his stats, 4th straight top 10 for Josh Berry. He has more top 10s than a handful of drivers that are pretty competitive. Austin Cindric, Michael McDowell, Ross Chastain. He's led more laps than Keselowski, Suarez, and Eric Jones. And that's a Penske Alliance team. So we're kind of on this thread of the Fords are starting to matriculate their stats at the right time.
Yeah, and I think that Josh was just fun to watch. It was cool to see that almost, I'm going to say, the light come on in terms for like the fan base to see the driver that Josh Berry is. People have seen and know who he is, but to watch him drive and maneuver around the field was a lot of fun. I mean, in fact, he has led the most laps of any Wood Brothers car ever at New Hampshire with 73 laps.
Wow.
I mean, he was impressive. It was fun. It was exciting, and it gave you that extra energy oomph that you were looking for when you walked away from the race.
And it's funny. This started at Indy, finished 7th there, finished 4th at Iowa, 8th at Richmond, and then 3rd at New Hampshire. As you said, a nice little 4-race run. I don't know where this guy was at the first of the year, but after he got fired, it was almost like, one, I think Ford has gotten better.
I agree.
2, I think he's racing free now. There's no pressure to get into the thing. And ironically enough, I think his performance levels jump.
He's building the resume. He's building a case for himself that, hey, I belong here. I belong in the Cup Series. I am good enough to run here. Someone needs to give me a shot. I know there's some open truck seats. There's some open O'Reilly seats. But if you're 4 consecutive top 10s, you definitely belong in a ride in the Cup Series, and I think it's just a matter of time before somebody scoops him up. I know that we don't have the open availability right now for him to go somewhere, but I think that we'll see him in a car next year running something somewhere.
Completely agree. He's too great and too exciting to watch to not see him land in a seat. He's got the resume built. He did the work. And like you mentioned, he's racing free. There's a handful of drivers who have gotten a contract renewed. They're driving like a totally different guy. Guys who have lost their seats, driving like a totally different guy. So I think that there is something to that, the weight of the world on your shoulders. And now you're like, guess what? Let me just show you what I can do.
Well, Matt Collick's going to be on the show later. Let's see if Matt will give Josh a ride for next year when he rolls out the Dodge program.
Why not? It'd be good to see Dodge back in the Cup Series. I'd be excited for that.
Yeah, but for Josh, I'm happy. Always a very personable guy, easy to talk to, has earned his stripes in this. Didn't show up with a bag of money to buy a ride.
No.
And has done this, so good on him. We'll see. The future's not done for him.
No.
This is not a dead end. Maybe it's a bump in the road. Pretty big one, but I don't think he's done. By the way, let's go ahead and hear from race winner Ryan Blaney.
Well, the momentum that Team Penske has on their side is great, and Ford and, Team Penske in general have been on a pretty good tear the last couple months, and it's been fun to work through it with everybody and try to get better and better. So just keep going. I'm a big believer in momentum and things like that. We just have to keep working at it, and hopefully we make a run at it.
In our next segment, we're going to break down the fact that he is making a big run for the championship, and what is the bet on Ryan Blaney right now. But first off, let's give you this Toyota Performance Report brought to you by Toyota Racing. Your race, your story. Be a part of the action at ToyotaRacingUSA.com. Bubba Wallace was the highest finishing Toyota at New Hampshire. He finished 2nd. 4th went to Christopher Bell. Ty Gibbs was 6th. 7th, Denny Hamlin. And Tyler Reddick was 8th. And those were your top 10 finishing Toyota drivers at New Hampshire. And what turned out to be a really competitive and fun race. We'll take a break. Come right back. Talk a little bit more about race winner Ryan Blaney. It's Fast Talk here on the Performance Racing Network. Samantha Waddell, David Stiles. I'm Doug Rice. Let's go ahead and take a deep dive here on Ryan Blaney. For the first half of the season, the Fords were not to be seen. It's been an all Toyota show, and it feels like, and it looks like genuinely, David, at least the Blue Oval has eroded away a little bit of the dominance of Toyota, led by Ryan Blaney, of course.
I think that the set of tracks that we've been at over the last number of weeks have been really, really good for Ford. Ford has been good on the short tracks. We've seen Joey Logano move from 20th to 9th in points. Ryan Blaney also with 2 wins in this section, and they've got all this momentum going forward. And this is what I fully believe. I believe there's a Penske push after May is over, after the Indy 500. I know that that's not a thing that you can quantify, but they really know how to capitalize in these moments where we need to be good and we need to make sure that our program is on track. And if they get their intermediate track package figured out, I think they can really make a concerted effort to make a push for a championship out of this chase. I think both of those drivers are still very much in the hunt. And the reason I say that is we're going to reset these points. Mm-hmm. After Daytona, the top 16 will get reset. The distance from 1st to 16th is only 100 points. Ryan Blaney's currently sitting in 2nd, and Hamlin has a pretty big points lead over him, and that'll get reset to what, 25-ish points?
Yeah.
That's so doable. If someone gets hot at the right time and they go through these next 10 races after Daytona, it's not out of the realm of possibility that he could pass Hamlin and Toyota could be on the outside looking in after they've had such a dominant start to the year.
I agree with you. I think that there's something to that. And I think that you look at the races that are left for the chase and who's won those. I mean, Ford has a really solid chance of being able to make this happen.
And that's funny because at the first of the season, we were talking about the fact the regular season was already won by Tyler Reddick.
Yeah, we had crowned him the champion.
And it seems like it was last year that Tyler Reddick was the hottest property in the world. He won 5 of the first 10 races. He won the first 3 races. And all of this praise, and then it's just like overnight, he lost the mojo. And I mean, he spun out, on lap 3? Or was it the first lap?
It was the first lap.
When they came out on the wet weather tires. And I felt like that almost condemned him for the rest of the race. We don't know how good he was.
And he was terrible in practice.
Yeah.
Absolutely atrocious. And then he wins the pole, and that's just like a microcosm for his entire season.
Yeah.
So he goes and wins the pole, and Andrew Curlin talked to him and said, you were 31st in practice, and he goes, I didn't even know the car had that in it. And so then he goes out on the pole and spins out, and it's just like a comedy of errors. It's like watching one of your favorite rom-com movies, and everything bad that happens to the one guy just continues to happen.
It continues to happen.
And I fully agree, Doug. I think that the mojo is just off over there. I know they've had a meeting with Michael Jordan where he came in and talked to each one of the teams, trying to pump them up and get some energy behind them. And I just don't know if they're going to have enough to make a push here late in the season. I think that they don't really have a shot as far as the momentum goes.
I think that they just need that reset button, right? And the chase resetting, clearing the points might be that moment that there is that, I'm going to say, the carrot dangling over there that you can attack and that you can get after. I think that there is the realm of possibilities that can happen. I don't know that there's really anybody that you can completely shut out and say, there's no shot. There's no way that you're going to be able to tackle this and you're going to take the championship. Granted, there are the 3 that you assume will be the ones contending, but it's kind of anybody's game once you get there.
And now I feel like it's a Ryan Blaney game. He's definitely, maybe, I'm not going to forget Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs still has fast race cars and is racing better than he's ever done before. I have more faith in Ty Gibbs than I do right now in Tyler Reddick, because Reddick's just going in the wrong direction. If you're a believer in momentum, his is all negative at the moment.
Well, and another point where Ryan Blaney and Team Penske are so good at these tracks that we've been at. Tyler Reddick historically not good at these tracks we have been at. And now we're going to go back to Daytona, where he won earlier in the season. Then we'll go to Darlington, where he's always been very good. So we'll see if he can come back from this slump that he has been in. He's still top 4 in points. I think that there may just be too much of a mountain for him to climb as far as the mental aspect of this goes, but we'll all find out together. That's the beauty of what racing is. We have to run every single lap, and we're going to find out if he can come back from this.
But I do think, to that, I mean, you look at the races that are left in the chase, Tyler's found success at a handful of those. Ryan's found success at a handful. You look at the guys that have won, and you look at where they've won at, there is that probability that you're really going to have a fun wild card of a gamble when we really get into the chase.
Ryan's also been there, done that.
Yep.
Former champion.
That means more than I think we give him credit for. One other thing, and David, we talked about this a lot on previous shows. We've heard so many people preach, you've got to be in the top 5 to win the title. And I bought into that for a while, but I've seen a couple of things happen this year. This big surge by Joey Logano to come from outside the cut line to be 9th now in points. The plummet of Tyler Reddick that we've already talked about. I don't know that you have to be in the top 5. I think this could go all the way down to the top 10 getting into the chase, having a legit shot.
I mean, legitimately, 100 points from 1st to 16th. If you're in 16th and all of a sudden you turn it on and go through a 5 or 6 race stretch where you're just unbeatable, it's doable. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. You're mathematically still in it. I think it's anybody's game. I think if you're in that top 16, you have a legitimate shot to win the championship, and you just have to play your cards right and make sure that you're maximizing every single point that you can, because we've seen it. You don't have to get a bunch of wins to be able to be successful in this format. You have to be very, very consistent, and we've seen a number of people do that. Ty Gibbs is one of them. He's got 2 wins on the season, yes, but he runs very consistent week in and week out, and they're maximizing every single one of those points.
I'm not quite as bullish as you are. I'll go to the top 10. If you're 11 through 16, there's a reason you're there.
Yeah.
You probably don't have the secret sauce to put you over the top to get to be a legit playoff player. Speaking of expectations, theirs were high for these 4 drivers. Kyle Larson, William Byron, Christopher Bell, Ross Chastain, all came into the year thinking this could be the year. This could be a title. Samantha, as we're sitting here, which one of these is the biggest surprise that they've not gotten a W?
I would go with Christopher Bell. I think that there's so much success that he's found every season, and then this season it's fallen a little flat. I think it was 32 races without a win, which feels very uncharacteristic for a Christopher Bell. He's been fun to watch. He's raced well. I mean, he has 7 second-place finishes, 13 top 10s, 4 stage wins, so he's doing the right things. It's just not coming together in one moment. So I think he's right there on that cusp.
What are you thinking, David?
For me, I think that the biggest question mark is Kyle Larson. 49-race winless streak, last year's champion, hasn't won since Kansas on May 11th of 2025. There's just something going on with him, and I can't really put my finger on it. He was decent at New Hampshire, the best Hendrick car in the field by far, and he led a ton of laps at Bristol, but it just has not materialized into a race win yet. I know that he's locked in already in the 7th position in points for the chase, but there's just something a little bit off with that team, and I don't know what it is, but they just don't seem right in how I think Kyle Larson should be running at this point in the season. And so I've still got a lot of question marks for that team. I know that Hendrick and Chevy has that new body, and going to Daytona, we don't know how that will affect them, and we've got changes to that race anyway coming up Saturday. So we don't know all of the things that will play into that, but I just don't know where to go from here. If I'm a Kyle Larson fan or just even at Hendrick, what do we do at this point to right the ship and become more competitive to where we're in the mix when people are talking about a championship run?
Well, kind of rounding out this equation here, William Byron, who it wasn't all that long ago, won the first 2 races of a season, won back-to-back Daytona 500s, and now he's an afterthought.
Has he even put together back-to-back top 10s this year?
I don't think so, but I felt like that the race at New Hampshire sort of exemplified. It was a representation of his entire season.
Yeah.
The wheels literally fell off.
Yeah.
He had a tire fall off the car, and his day is done. And he was okay up until then. He wasn't going to win, but the fall off of Chevrolet and Hendrick is something that I think when we write the book on this season is going to be its own chapter. They've been a non-factor for the most part, aside from a couple of wins from Chase Elliott.
Well, I mean, and I think earlier we were talking about Toyota. Beginning of the season was all about Toyota. Now we've kind of transitioned and we're talking about like Ford's coming in. They're making a splash. It hasn't really been any kind of a story for Chevy. It hasn't really been. It's been a non-starter.
To me, the biggest thing is Spire has overperformed. They've got 2 race wins this year from Daniel Suarez and Carson Hocevar. Hendrick underperformed. If you're going to grade them on their own rubric, they're not where they should be right now. And I think Kyle Petty has said it best. I've heard him on a couple of different programs. They're trying to take what should be middle-of-the-pack cars, 10th, 11th, 12th place cars, drive them up to where they should be because they have the expectations that we should be running top 5 every week. They just don't have the equipment right now.
You realize Trackhouse has as many wins as Hendrick.
Yeah.
SVG's got a couple of road course
wins.
And, that's a big chunk of what Chevy has done this year. I'm not ready to flush them entirely because we've seen this resurgence of Ford. I don't know if that continues when we get back around to the 1.5-mile racetracks, when we come back to Charlotte or go down to Darlington or some of these other tracks that may even out a little bit. But, man, I'm still surprised, though, that we're here where we are and the 3 big drivers that we talked about don't have W's this year. That's shocking.
It's just absolutely flabbergasting me. And to me, I think the only anomaly, and Samantha, you mentioned him, Christopher Bell, average start of 14.2, average finish of 14.3, 7 runner-ups. He's in the mix.
He is in the mix.
He's in the mix. He just doesn't have the wins.
They're not able to put it all together in one race. It's like you see it in this one. You're like, oh, okay, cool, we're getting it. But they can't pull it all together for one race.
Well, our studios are located here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Seabell should have won the Coke 600 this year, but him and Denny Hamlin get into a cat fight with each other, and that lets Daniel Suarez go off and win it.
Yeah, and then he pushes a car to the win with Blaney at Echo Park, and it's just, eventually it's going to start wearing on you. But I think that they're in a better position than the other drivers on this list. I know you mentioned Larson and Byron and Chastain. I think out of those four, Bell has the better shot of making something happen than the other four do.
By the way, Chastain was officially eliminated from the chase at New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And that I find that odd. I thought his star was ascending.
Yes.
And this year it's been nightmarish for him.
They just can't get out of their own way. I think they're fighting too many struggles over there at Trackhouse with their equipment, and unless you're Shane Van Gisbergen and you're on a road course, I just don't think that those cars have what it takes to win at a intermediate track or at a short track.
And he may not have a driver in his current employ in 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We already know Zilich is going. Chastain has 1 more year. He could bail. And SVG is a pretty valuable property. Somebody's looking at him saying, okay, we could get him. That probably gives us 3 wins a year.
Yeah.
I don't know what that Trackhouse team's going to look like in another year. We'll take a timeout. Be right back. You guessed it. It's Fast Talk here on PRN, the Performance Racing Network, from Speedway Motorsports Communications Department, or as the cool kids call them, comms. Is that right? Is that
It's
still
comms.
a thing?
Yeah.
It's not Marcom anymore, just comms.
We're comms.
No,
We're comms.
all right, you just dropped a Marcom. You can't just do that and not say what that is.
Marketing and communications.
Yeah, I mean, we work with the marketing department, but we are 2 separate entities. So we're the comms team.
There you go.
So that you're almost speaking in emoji when you say that, I feel like.
Yeah, you just the abbreviation language.
Yeah.
Alphabet soup for everybody.
It is, but I think it's also funny if you started naming a handful of things that we hear in radio or you hear in TV that are just normal everyday conversations for us with directors and producers. You said it to a normal average crowd, they'd be like, I'm sorry, what are you asking me about?
All right, you worked in television as a sports anchor?
Yes, sir.
Where?
I worked in Lubbock, Texas, Roanoke, Virginia, South Bend, Indiana, and freelance a little bit in Houston.
Intrepid traveler here.
You've got a lot of miles on you.
You got to move around so you can move up.
Yeah. Well, you've probably been here then at Speedway Motorsports as long as you stayed anywhere else because you're relatively young, and to do all those other things you did, you didn't plant a lot of roots.
No, I moved every 2 years in TV because my contract was 2 years, and that was really the only way you could move up. And I've been here 4 years. It'll be 5 years in March. So this is the longest I've ever lived anywhere outside of college and growing up in Houston, which is kind of wild to say that I'm like, we're here. We've planted roots, and I've been here for 4 years, and I've moved every 2.
Funny question, since you talked about contracts. What's the weirdest thing you've ever seen put into a television contract?
I wasn't allowed to wear the same outfit within 2 monts on air.
Oh, wow.
Did you have to furnish your own wardrobe, or did they do that?
I did. I had to furnish my own wardrobe, so I rented my clothes, and I still do rent the runways. Like, I'm getting a shipment every 2 weeks in the month. But because you weren't allowed to wear the same clothes.
Doug, we'd be in trouble, man. I'm over here wearing PRN shirt almost every day.
The shirt.
The shirts.
But it was wild. That was the weirdest thing, because I was like, I'm sorry, how? No, like, you just got to figure it out. We just don't want you to wear the same thing.
Every 2 months, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's a big rotation.
That's why I rented clothes. I couldn't afford that lifestyle.
I couldn't have had a closet that big.
No.
All right, let's do this now.
It's time for another edition of Green Flag, Black Flag.
All righty. Show that has excellence in broadcasting written all over it.
Award-winning,
here.
right?
Award something. I don't know. Actually, our standards are, what is it? Our goals are low, and we meet them every week.
Expectations are low.
All right, here we go. I got some statements. I'll read them. The panel will mull them over. If they agree with said statement, it gets a green flag. If they disagree, black flag. That's pretty simple. Here we go. Let's go with Samantha first.
Ooh.
Christopher Bell will win the championship with 1 or fewer wins this season.
Green flag. I think he can do it. We've just talked about he can pull it together and make it happen. I think he's got all the pieces. He's just got to put it into one race, and I think he can take the checkered flag.
All right, Doug Rice, what do you think?
Black flag. I'm not going to speak of the person that will win the championship for fear that it will curse them.
Happens every year. How about David Stiles?
I think it's possible. I think he could go on a Matt Kenseth 2003 type run where Matt had 11 top 5s, 25 top 10s, and only led like 354 laps.
You know what?
Bell's already led 539. It's doable. I say do it.
Small victories.
All right, Doug Rice, we go to you on this one. NASCAR should also race on the streets of Washington, D.C. If for no other reason, it would be refreshing to see something moving fast there.
Okay, I was not expecting that. A red, white, and blue flag for that, sure. I peeked over at the IndyCar race just to look at the background. I thought it was exceptionally cool.
Yeah.
I'd love
Dave
to
Stiles?
Green flag. Anything that we can do to help celebrate our nation and add a little bit more patriotism, I'm for it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Natural fit.
Definitely green flag. I watched the IROC races, and they were so much fun. I was like, this is exciting. A lot of people tuned in. A lot of different eyeballs can help spread the word of the sport. All about it.
All right, let's go to David here. Your 2026 champ will be someone you don't expect. Of course, you've already said it's going to be.
I'm going to say black flag. I think it'll be someone that is in the top 4 or 5 that we're talking about. I think it'll be the regular cast of drivers that we have. I don't think we'll see an unexpected driver, even though I am going against my logic that I said earlier in the show. I believe it'll be our normal cast of characters.
All right, Samantha.
I'm going to say green flag. I think that we've talked about so many different drivers who are just missing little bits and pieces of things. And we also talked earlier, 1 through 10 is a shot. And I think right now people are basically locking it on 3 different guys. Blaney, and we've got Hamlin and Reddick. So I think that there's something there. I think that anybody can do it.
All right, Doug Rice.
The champion is going to be
someone
a guy
you don't expect.
No. We're going to expect this person. Yeah. That will not be named.
Right.
Will not be named.
It's not Christopher Bell.
It is not.
All right, Doug Rice.
All right, thanks a bunch. Hey, we got to take a quick time out and come back. One last thing. Let's do this now.
One last thing.
Because in broadcasting, you're not supposed to follow your own production on the air. It makes it sound like there's only one person on the show. Since that's Samantha who voiced the one last thing, you get to give us your one last thing.
My one last thing will be about someone very important to me. So sports is not for everyone. If you work in sports, it's a very, very hard deal. You're gone a lot, and I couldn't do this if it was not for my wife. We celebrated our 12th wedding anniversary this past Sunday, which if you're doing the math, you're like, man, he looks really young to have been married 12 years. We got married pretty young, but we've got 2 wonderful children together. She's a great mom. She does a lot for me, and I couldn't have asked for a better partner in life. So big shout out to my wife, Mallory. Love you, babe.
That's wonderful. That's very heartfelt. It's amazing that they allowed you to get married in junior high.
Yeah, you know, right? we fudged our dates on the birth certificates. That's exactly what we did.
Samantha?
We are in the middle of wedding planning. We get married December 12th, my fiance and I, and we did cake tasting over the weekend.
What'd you land on?
We haven't decided. Y'all, it is so hard. Do you know how big of a decision that is on what cake you're going to have?
Well, you're not going to eat much of it anyway, so
I know. It's got to be a good cake
you're not
for everybody
gonna do
else.
The face smashing cake on
no.
it. I despise that.
Are you guys going to save the topper and then
No,
eat a
see,
piece
that's
of
weird
it?
to me, too.
Yeah.
Like, who has space in their freezer for a chunk of cake?
Ours got lost, and I'm really glad it got lost.
Ours didn't, and this was a long time ago, but we pulled it out on the 1-year anniversary, and it's not advisable. If you want to keep the topper, that's great. If not, move on. Funny, I'm going to go in the wedding direction, too. I attended the wedding of the general manager here at PRN's daughter, got married up at Grandfather Mountain this weekend, Linda, and it was one of the most cool weddings I've ever been to. It's very lavish without being over the top. It was beautiful, and it just made my wife and I feel really good to be a small part of something like that, and traditional vows, and it was just nice. and I can't say it any other way. And I'm not a big attending wedding person, except I'll be going to one in December when Samantha gets married. So looking forward to that. But it was just really cool. It was idyllic. It was up at Grandfather Mountain, North Carolina. If you've ever been there or seen that, you know the natural beauty of that. So, hey, we're ending up on a kind of happy note here. Who wins Daytona quickly?
Oh, somebody that we don't expect.
Okay, that's
I'm going to go with Joey Logano.
I'm going to go with Hocevar. How about that?
Hey.
All right, we're going to take
Hey.
a break. By the way, keep it between the navigational beacons.
Between the buoys.
5 o'clock somewhere.